All right, let's jump right in. We spend our entire lives asking questions, like from the second we wake up to the moment we fall asleep. But here's the thing, are we actually focusing our energy on the right ones? I mean, just think about the questions you've asked yourself today. Some are pretty small, right? Let's call them 100 baht questions. But then there are the big ones, the million-baht questions that really shape your life. We're juggling both all the time, but the real mystery is, where does all our brain power actually go?
And it's kind of funny, isn't it? It's this weird thing we humans do. Picture a big corporate board meeting. They might wave through a 300 million baht project in like 5 minutes flat. Why? Because it's complicated, it's abstract. But then they'll spend the next hour arguing over which snacks to put in the 3,000 baht vending machine. Seriously, it's because it's easy. We gravitate towards the small, easy stuff.
So that's really the heart of what we're digging into today. Why do we get so hung up on the small stuff? We're going to break down 3 big traps that keep us stuck on those 100 baht questions. And more importantly, we'll see how just shifting your focus to the million-baht questions can literally change everything. All right, first up, let's talk about the trap of more. You know the one, that constant, endless chase for improvement. We're going to explore this really powerful idea that maybe, just maybe, there's a point where self-acceptance actually becomes way more important than self-improvement. When you boil it all down, our happiness is a pretty simple formula. It's just your actual life minus what you expect your life to be. The huge problem today, though, we're constantly bombarded with the highlight reels of the top 1% online. I mean, every single day. So our expectations, they just skyrocket, right? And we're left feeling dissatisfied with a life that, honestly, is probably already pretty great.
And this brings us to a really critical moment. The idea is, once your outer world is, good enough, your job is decent, you're healthy, you have a place to live, well, the key to more happiness isn't chasing more. It's about turning inward and learning to manage your inner world, your own wants, your own expectations.
So get this. There's this thing called the Swiss paradox. You've got people living in Switzerland, literally surrounded by the most incredible, breathtaking mountains on the planet. And what do so many of them dream about? A little sandy beach somewhere in Thailand. It just goes to show we're totally wired to want what we don't have, no matter how awesome our current situation is. And that right there, that forces us to ask a real million-baht question. What's the beautiful mountain in your life that you're totally taking for granted? Maybe it's a stable job, or your family, or just your health. What are you ignoring while you're busy dreaming about some faraway beach? Okay, so that leads us right into our second trap. The myth of later. This one is huge. It's this idea we're all sold that we should put off being happy now for some bigger reward in the future. A reward that, let's be honest, might not ever show up.
I'm sure you've heard of the marshmallow test, right? They put a kid in a room with a marshmallow and say, you can eat this one now, or if you wait 15 minutes, you can have 2. And yeah, the kids who wait tend to do better later in life. So we take that logic and we apply it to everything. Grind now for that promotion later. Save every penny now for retirement later. But here's the massive flaw in that thinking. What if you wait too long? There's a story from a writer who said he almost never went skiing as a teenager because he wanted to save money. He was waiting for the right time. Well, years later, he messes up his knee, and just like that, he can never ski again. He waited for that second marshmallow, but by the time he was ready, the chance was just gone. Or think about this story. There's a mother who's always in a rush, and her little daughter is very thoughtful, very deliberate, and she's constantly telling her, hurry up and eat, we're gonna be late. She was basically trading these small, precious moments for a few seconds of efficiency and just pulling her daughter along for the ride. So one day, she buys her daughter an ice cream cone, and the little girl just looks up at her and asks this absolutely heart-stopping question. And in that 1 second, the mom just gets it. She realizes she's making her kid rush through ice cream, one of the simplest, purest joys in life. All in the name of, what? Getting to the next thing faster? So you have to ask yourself, what are the marshmallows in your own life? Is it spending time with your family? That hobby you never make time for? That trip you keep putting off? Which of those joys should you be savoring right now before they just melt away? And that brings us to our third and final trap. This one is all about asking a tough question. Are the goals you're chasing even the right ones for the person you are today? Let's look at the race to the South Pole. You had 2 teams. Team Amundsen, they marched a steady 20 miles every single day. Didn't matter if it was sunny or a blizzard. Then you had Team Scott. They'd go all out on the good days and then just stop and wait out the bad ones. The result? Amundsen's consistency got them there and back safely. Scott's team? They didn't make it.
This whole idea is called the 20-mile march, and it's not just for explorers. It's about picking a core thing in your life, whether it's exercising, writing, investing, whatever, and just committing to slow, steady progress every day, no matter what. It's all about consistency, not these crazy bursts of intensity. Okay, but here's the twist. What happens when your march needs to change? The author tells this really relatable story about how he used to be this massive Manchester United fan. I mean, staying up all night to watch every single game. But then, life happens. He gets married, has kids, and his priorities just changed. And he started feeling super guilty about it, like he was failing at being a real fan because he wasn't as into it as he used to be. And that story is such a great reminder that our goals, they have an expiration date. The point of life isn't to become a static thing, like a firefighter or a banker or even a superfan. The real goal is to constantly align what you're doing with the person you are right now and the person you're becoming. So you gotta ask yourself, are you still on a 20-mile march toward a destination you don't even care about anymore? Are you holding on to some old goal, some old identity that just doesn't fit the person you are today? And really, that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, the quality of your life really is determined by the quality of your questions. Making that shift from sweating the small stuff, the 100-baht questions, to really wrestling with the million-baht questions, that's how you focus your energy on what actually matters. So I'll leave you with this. Stop worrying about which brand of coffee to buy. Start thinking about the life you actually want to build. What's the 1 million baht question, the really important one, that you need to start asking yourself this week?